I'm going to give you some amazing tips and tricks today of how to give yourself a facelift using just makeup. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars, go under the knife, be in a lot of pain to get some of the results that you want to see. We can do this simply with makeup by using various professional techniques. If you like learning a lot of professional makeup techniques, you can find out more at the academy that I teach at makeupgeekacademy.com. If you want to check that out, you can click the link below. Let me show you how to give yourself an instant facelift using just makeup. Okay, before we start this video, I know I'm gonna look crazy, you guys. My dark circles are so bad today that even a regular concealer did not cover them. I'm so exhausted. My toddler, my daughter, she wakes up every night in the middle of the night, so I had to use an orange color corrector. So let me put that down before we get into our first step, which is use a lighter dewy foundation to give yourself a facelift. I know what you're thinking. You're like, what does the foundation finish have to do with doing a facelift? As we get older, I'm gonna start applying this as I'm talking, you guys, which my favorite dewy foundation is the NARS Sheer Glow. We all know this. I use it in every video. So as we get older, in general, our skin tends to get more dry and it tends to lose its luminosity. So I like using a dewy foundation because it's going to add that luminosity back. And I'm telling you guys, once you change your foundation routine to be more dewy, less powder, less cakiness, use thin formulas, nothing too thick or too heavy, unless you're doing a cream foundation, which I'll talk about in a second, it's going to give you that luminosity that we generally have when we're younger. So the first step is always to use a dewy foundation because look how much luminosity that automatically brightens me up. Like, look at this side. I know it's crazy, but look at the difference between the two. That luminosity, it's already kind of making me look youthful. It's brightening things up. It's giving me a facelift. Step number 2 to give yourself a facelift is to contour upwards. So this is where we really start defining the face. We start chiseling and adding dimension in that we tend to lose as we get older. So let's start with our chin first, because as I've gotten older, my chin's gotten a little bit looser, a little softer in here versus that sharp chiseled line. So I really do like to chisel really sharply like that. I just take a cream contour stick. This is the Rare Beauty one, which I really love. But because we can't walk around with this line under our chin, obviously, we've got to blend it out a little bit. But if you start kind of buffing it downwards, let me show you guys. I'm doing just half of my face because I really want you to see what's going on here. I'm going to soften it out because we're just adding a touch of shadow there. But do you see the difference between this side and this side? It's a little bit subtle, but do you see how this looks very chiseled and carved out? Whereas in here, it's starting to get a little bit loose. Okay, now for the cheekbones, what I've learned as I've gotten older is you want to contour because you want to lift your face up, because as we age, this starts to get loose and come down. I mean, I know I'm just in my 40s, you guys, but this is starting to get a little bit looser in here. So I notice when I contour and I come in too much, it starts to drag my face down. So I have to be very conscious when I contour to stop right here. Don't come in here because I want it to be lifted. So what I do is I do my mark right here. Sorry, that's Lexi. That's Lexi snoring. She snores like a freight train. That's my dog. If you hear noise going on, that's her. So do you see where I'm stopping right there? If I come in further, it's going to start to look dragged down. So I'm going to blend this upwards like this. We are going to lift the cheekbone like that. And if you guys feel that this is starting to look heavy in here, you see how some of it, my brush, I got a little bit blended in here, to just take another brush or a sponge and kind of clean that up a bit, because we don't want that color coming down too much. We want to stay back here. And then the last part is the forehead. As I've gotten older, you guys, it looks like I use dry shampoo today. It looks like I have a helmet head. So you know what it is. But as I've aged, my hairline has gone back a little bit. I've lost some of my hair right here. So this is why I also contour up here, because I kind of want to shrink my forehead just a little bit. So I always add a little bit of darkness in here just to kind of change the shape of my forehead, if that makes sense. Step number 3 is to reverse contour strategically. Now, basically reverse contouring is highlighting, but I don't like to call it highlighting because people think of shimmery highlight on the cheeks. This is shade and light. So we are applying light to transform our shape. So we did dark here under the cheekbones to kind of lift those up. Now, if you have marionette lines or your face is getting a little loose and starting to come down in here, we want to brighten that a little bit. So what I like to do is just take a lighter colored cream stick. You can use a foundation or concealer as well. I just like cream because it buffs into the skin really well. So take that same brush, but wipe it off really, really well so there's no color on there. Pick up that color stick, and we're going to apply this right here around the marionette lines. And then I like to highlight here under the eyes and bring it up to the side of the face up here because I want light up here. I want to be lifting. Everything's about lifting. And then because this can tend to get dark, those marionette lines, it creates a shadow. So if you could almost like reverse contour, highlight that with a lighter color, we're now de-emphasizing that a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see the difference between this side and this side. Do you see how there's a slight shadow right here? We're trying to highlight that so it's lifting the face. Step number 4 for our facelift is to apply your blush higher up on the cheeks and also use a little bit brighter color. So as I've gotten older, I've lost the pigmentation in my face, so I have to go for more brighter colors. If the Marlena, when I first started YouTube back in 2008, had pulled out this color, I would have been like, woo, no, not happening. But now I actually need it, and the placement I do now is differently. So just take, whatever brush, something that's, a bit bright, that's still not too far off of your skin tone. And I used to apply my blush like this across the cheekbone. As I've gotten older, it kind of pulls my face down a little bit. So I start here mid cheekbone and I'm actually bringing it up here. And again, what that's going to do is giving us a lift. We're drawing the eye up and out to lift that face. Do you guys see the difference between this side and this side? Again, that color's coming up. We're lifting the face every step that we do. Number 5 is to add a luminous highlighter to the skin. And again, this is about skin texture. It's not just about shade and light transforming our features and all that. It's about skin texture that gives us youthfulness. I've really been liking the e.l.f. highlighter, but if you guys don't want an actual highlighted look, you just want some dewiness in here on the cheeks, I applied powder blush, but you could also take a cream lipstick or a cream blush, dab that on. The goal is we want a sheen to our skin, and especially on those cheekbones. So I'm going to take this lipstick that has a shine to it. Let me show you in the back of my hand, you all, what you're looking for. Do you see how that's shiny? You don't want to use a matte lipstick because that's going to look flat and it can pull up your foundation. You really need something that has a shine to it, almost like a lip balm type formula, or just use a cream blush. I like lipsticks better because I feel like the cream blushes out there are too tacky. So one of these days in the future, I'm going to make makeup again and I'm going to make some formulas that I really like for blushes. Anyways, we are going to tap this. Don't swipe it. Don't do it. Don't swipe it. It's going to pull up that foundation underneath and then you're going to get mad. You're going to send me hate email. Hear that sound? We're tapping it. So I'm tapping that cream lipstick on top to give me that dewiness. Do you see that shine? Adding luminosity to my skin. It's making me look younger. It's shaving years off of my skin because it's glowy and fresh. I mean, come on, you guys, look at that shine. Do you see that? Do you see that shine? Every time I do this technique, I'm not joking. I get people saying, why are you wearing on your cheeks? It looks so beautiful because it just looks like dewy, glowy skin. Now, the next step we're going to do is do a winged liner, but I'm going to show you a trick if you don't want a harsh winged line, because if we have hooded lids, sometimes wearing a really strong wing liner doesn't work, but I'm going to use this tool. I just got this today. TikTok sold me on it. It's my first time using it. I got this VORTEX professional liner stencil. This is not sponsored. I bought this with my own money, but I'm gonna try it today. Let's see if the shiznit works. This is smaller than what I thought it was gonna be. Like that's pretty, I mean, I guess you need it to be small. Well, yeah, I guess that's kind of cool. I mean, props to whoever created this. It's pretty ingenious. Okay, so if you don't want to do a liquid liner, which sometimes can come across harsh, you want something soft for every day. What I like doing is taking a cream shadow stick and a dark color. I like these Mercier ones, and you can use tape. You can use this, fancy little doodad. You can use a business card, something that has a straight edge to it. What we're gonna do is take that cream eyeshadow and a really small brush like this, a really small pencil brush. We're gonna pick up some on that stick. You guys can use an eyeliner pencil too, but I find that the cream sticks are a little bit easier to smudge. So that's why I like them. It gives me wiggle room to blend. Okay, so try to figure out how to use this thing without stabbing my eye, you guys. Okay, we want right there where that crease is, we're gonna try to bring that color up there. And then what I like to do is stay close to the lash line and kind of smudge it out I don't know if I like that tool, you guys. I think I'm gonna stick to my old tape method. But let me show you the shape that we're going for. I know that's not clean right now. I need to clean it up a little bit. If you want to apply shadow or eyeliner or cream stick in a shape that's kind of a V shape like that, and don't go in all the way, just stop halfway. We just are trying to lift the eyes more. Do you see the shape of my eye here versus this one? It's kind of down a little bit, but this is lifting it. If you need to clean it up, you guys just take a pointed Q-tip like this. I kind of spin it so it's like really pointy, and then you can just clean that up if you need, like that. And then I did this eyeshadow technique in a YouTube video if you guys want to check it out. It's like most universally flattering eye makeup. Check that out because I do this technique. Take a dome brush a little bit bigger if you want, and you can soften this by just kind of buffing it upwards. This is if you don't want that harsh line, you don't want like a true eyeliner. Again, you can use liquid liner if you want, but if you want something for every day, that's the shape that you want. It's lifting. And then really quick, you guys, so you can just take some sort of brown eyeshadow and I just smudge it a little bit above the eyeshadow. Like I'm going to go in with a shade like this, whatever you have in your guys' collection, your palette that you like. And I just smudge it on top of that liner to soften it a little bit. You can even take a blending brush like this, kind of go over it to soften it. So you still get that V shape, but it's just like a smoky, it's almost like a smoky cat eye. Then one other thing you all could do to lift the face and the eyes a little bit more is to take lashes, strip lashes, and cut them in half and apply them just to the outer corner of the eye. So let me show you what I do. I have these ones by Ardell, and I just cut them in half. Grab my scissors here. Okay, do you see these lashes right here? So we're gonna pull them off. Now you can apply the full strip lash if you want, but to look a little bit more natural and for the purpose of just lifting the face, I'm gonna take that lash, we're gonna cut it right in half so it becomes a half lash. Do y'all see that? I'm cutting it in half. The inner part where it has the shortest part there, we're gonna take the inner half of that lash and put it on the outer edge of the eye. Let me set it down just so you all can see. Do you see the difference between this eye and this eye? That extra lash is up here. You can even kind of bring it up and fake it a little bit so it really lifts the eyes, but look how that's lifting my eyes. So everything we're doing is bringing it back up. Instant facelift. What is this? Like I should be showing the chicken dance, you guys. Okay, the next step to getting a facelift is to fill in your brows a little bit more, but also to lift them up on the outer edge. So here's what I do. So I fill in my brows wherever needed. My brows are so thin, you all. I actually am due to get them touched up for micro needling, where it's like tattooing, but with a really fine needle, like micro blading. If you want to know all the drama and tea on that, just follow me on my Instagram stories. You'll see all that happening. But I fill them in as much as I can. And then what I do, this is just a Chanel color soup. You guys use which one you want. So the outer tail right up here, we want to lift it because as we age, our brows do tend to collapse. So we kind of want to build an arch in there. And so what I like to do is I emphasize the arch by filling it in right there above my arch to kind of lift it. And then the outer tail, instead of filling in underneath, I'm filling in on top, because the more that I can lift that tail up like that, do you see how it's like, I'm not trying to get the Spock look going on, you guys, but you know what I mean? Like you lift the outer part, it's lifting the face. So the more that the tail end from the arch to the tail, that you can bring it upwards a little bit by filling it in on top. I mean, not up here. Don't go up your forehead, you guys. You know what I'm saying? Just stay close to your natural hairlines, but whatever you can do to bring that tail and the arch up a little bit, it's going to open the eyes and lift the face. Okay, so now I've got the lashes on. What do you all think? Did it give me a facelift? Did it lift everything up? I saved you some money. You don't have to go under the knife. Just use these little tips and tricks to give you that instant facelift, and I save you money and some pain. If you like this video and you learned a lot, check out the Makeup Geek Academy. I'll link to it below. I teach professional makeup classes on there. There's a community, there's giveaways, there's weekly tips and tricks. There's a lot of amazing information on there. So if you want to learn more and become a makeup geek, click on Makeup Geek Academy below. Have a great one, you guys. I'll see you next week for another makeup video. Bye.